Now, if you think this is another protest story, don't blink, because you're about to watch Tim Walz get talks of impeachment, federal law openly defied, riots spiraling in Washington. They having to step in. But the scariest part, half the country still thinks this is normal. Yes, they do. So right here, we have, let me show you what, just happened in Minnesota, basically. This is the moment everything is definitely about to change. Not a tweet, not a protest, impeachment filed on paper. I'm going to go ahead and zoom out a little bit, read the whole caption. Breaking articles of impeachment have officially been filed against Governor Tim Walz in the Minnesota House. Timothy J. Walz has engaged in corrupt conduct in office by violating his constitutional oath to faithfully execute the laws of this state. Accountability is coming. Now, this thing is blurry. Even when I put it up on the screen, it's a little blurry, but the thing is there. But this isn't, about vibes or rhetoric anymore. If this is true, this is lawmakers saying you didn't just mess up. You broke your oath. And notice something important. This didn't happen after just one bad week. This happened after, this past year. Really, but no, years of audits, warnings, whistleblowers, and all that being ignored. That matters, because when accountability shows up this late, it's never gentle. And the filing, I guess, is hitting the floor. Washington noticed.
Stephen, I was out and about in those crowds, the mob, on Thursday and part of Friday. We were out and about in Minneapolis. Is the word insurgency accurate? That is what I've chosen to describe this as, not a protest, not from what I saw.
Absolutely it is, Laura. You can use the term insurgency. You can use the term insurrection. You can use the term domestic terrorism. Mayor Jacob Frey, Governor Tim Walz, Attorney General Keith Ellison have deliberately, willfully, and purposefully incited this violent insurrection, this violent insurgency against immigration and customs enforcement, against Border Patrol. When you have mayors and state leaders saying that they're going to order the federal government, order federal law enforcement out of their city in order to maintain enclaves of criminal illegal aliens and criminal refugees who are looting and pillaging the state and the American people, when you have them effectively banning the city police and the state police from rendering life-saving aid to ICE officers, from rendering necessary protection and support to the federal government when it is under siege and carrying out these operations, that is a direct assault and attack on the federal government. And let's understand this. Why is ICE there? In addition to its obligation in every city, in every state, in every territory to uphold our nation's immigration laws, in addition to and beyond that, Minneapolis is a sanctuary city. It is a sanctuary state in Minnesota that has adopted a criminal policy of shielding and harboring illegal aliens and terrorists. And furthermore, we have uncovered a massive scandal run by Somali refugees to steal tens of billions of dollars from the federal treasury. So this entire scheme, all of these domestic terrorists hurling themselves in front of ICE officers, trying to prevent these actions from taking place, engaging in these trained insurgent tactics to try to stop federal enforcement from taking place, is to protect a Somali criminal refugee population that is looting and pillaging the federal treasury.
Stephen, one thing that I'm concerned about is what I saw happen. I don't think we have the video, but up in St. Cloud, Minnesota, the agents were surrounded real fast because, they report their whereabouts and then a mob descends upon them. And so they were ultimately driven out of the scene because it was too dangerous, it was overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. How do you guys deal with that, given this network that's involved in stopping ICE? And is it time to invoke the Insurrection Act, or would that stoke more unrest, anger, and deplete the trust that's already depleted somewhat in ICE?
Well, the President of the United States is never going to make a decision about what to do or what not to do based on how it might upset the violent left-wing insurgents. His obligation, what he is supremely committed to, is enforcing and upholding the sovereignty of the United States.
I know that's right. Now, words matter. And when someone like Stephen Miller says insurrection, trust me, he's not freelancing at all. He's pointing at something specific. You got state leaders telling people to resist federal law enforcement. This is something they've been campaigning on, basically. Not disagree, not peacefully protest, obstruct, interfere, and block. That's the line that the left keeps pretending don't exist. They'll scream authoritarian, at the feds, but say nothing at all. I mean, nothing when, the governors dare ICE to back down. And once politicians like that fuse, streets always answer. Now, this is what mostly peaceful looks like when nobody's watching. Notice the pattern. Mask on, the crowd out here. Whoa. And the second consequences decide to show up, panic. But here's the manipulation. They call this, rage. But it's actually permission. Because when leaders signal that law enforcement is illegitimate, this is the logical outcome for the left. And when things start falling apart, someone always claims it's a cover-up.
Reporting from my colleagues Carol Lenig and Ken Delanian, we've learned that leaders of the criminal rights section of the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department resigned, at least 4 of them, over a decision by the leader of that division, Harmeet Dillon, to not investigate this shooting. Now, that reporting doesn't necessarily mean the FBI won't be investigating this shooting, but customarily, this is the specific division within the Justice Department that would focus on this exact kind of scenario, a situation where a law enforcement personnel is being accused of excessive use of force and was involved in a shooting. So it certainly raises questions as to how in-depth the FBI plans to go with this investigation into this matter, Anna.
Nnamdi Agwan.
Reporting from my colleagues Carol Lenig and Ken Delanian.
You see how fast the script flips. First, it's trust the institutions, right? Then it's the institutions are corrupt unless they agree with us. Career DOJ attorneys resigning doesn't automatically mean truth. It could mean public pressure, panic, politics. And here's what they don't want you to ask. If this was really a cover-up, why are they shouting instead of, waiting for the evidence? Just saying. And right on cue, emotion gets injected. Because emotion is harder to argue with.
Nothing that I would to make you feel see on the highway of the ways of change are going wild and free.
I'm pretty sure I should have cut the music a second. Anywho, first of all, a woman lost her life, and that's tragic. Full stop. I'm not going to try to act like I'm just emotionless about this or about someone losing their life. But I want to read this caption. Renee Good's sister-in-law, Morgan Fletcher, has released a statement addressing unsustainable rumors that Good had a criminal history. Fletcher also shared images and video from Good's previous marriage. She writes, "I've been pretty quiet about this because I wanted to wait until our family could piece together a statement, and it's finally published," she said on Facebook. You never think the passing of a loved one would be high profile or a massively divisive political topic. Regardless of what happens, she was our family. Cole and my sister-in-law and our nephews is now an orphan. We are grieving heavily. And yes, we see everyone's posts, comments, some in support. Also, the nasty ones ripping apart the beautiful and beloved Renee. And we've seen the false claims and the wrong Renee Goods info. The wrong Renee Goods info being posted. Criminal history, she didn't have one. No matter where you stand on the issue of ICE or whether or not you think she did or didn't deserve what happened, please remember she was human. She was a human being, and she had loved ones, including children, who can and will likely see all of these things about their mother, about her wife, whom she loved dearly. Again, this is tragic. A family, lost somebody. Now, apart from that, I just want to bring up how left-wing media use grief and try to weaponize it, right? We just see it, not to seek truth, but to shut down the questions. They only want this to be about pain. So nobody asks about the decisions, the warnings, or responsibility. You can honor loss and still demand law and order. The left pretends that doesn't coexist. And when facts start slipping, someone eventually says the quiet part out loud on TV.
Point out. You have gotten your point out that you believe it was wrong for the administration to define her as a domestic terrorist. But you're here today talking to me about due process, and I'm concerned about your fidelity or understanding of due process when you deem an innocent man innocent until proven guilty is part of the United States Constitution. When you deem an innocent man a murderer, and you were an elected official, let's focus on you. You are an elected official with very little evidence. All you have is a viral video. And you condemned the man, who, by the way, I think you are liable. I think I would be careful if I were you, Congressman, for defamation. You, Steve Kerr, Doc Rivers, anyone else, I think you should be careful because you have crossed over the line of defamation. But for our purposes here today,
I'm not going to be careful in terms of calling out.
I think you have no fidelity to due process.
Oh, yes, I do. And the fact of the matter is, and I'll say it again and again and again and again, Renee Nicole Good did not get the due process that she deserves. I will say that the officer deserves due process. I am also going to call out what I saw in the video, and I'm 100% in my right to do so.
This is rare. Someone finally says, you don't get to declare guilt without proof, to his face. Due process only seems to matter to the left when it protects their narrative. Calling an officer a murderer before an investigation ends, that's not justice. That's definitely a headline. Meanwhile, while they argue on cable news, the city itself is rotting.
You have arrived.
This is what I get a kick out of. People and property. But without people, there isn't property.
Now,
You have arrived.
this isn't policy. This is the result of no policy. When laws stop being enforced consistently, this is what fills the gap. And notice what's missing. No leaders, no plan, no type of control here. Just decay. Normalized at that. But when local leadership freezes, the federal government, it doesn't. Now, what you're watching right now is DHS flying detainees out. No speeches, no drama, just action. Despite protests, despite riots, despite pressure, this is the part that, they never expect. They gonna keep moving. And when people start connecting the dots, you know what happens? The panic, it really sets in.
Don't you guys find it a little fishy that they're closing down schools in Minnesota until February during the exact same time that these daycares are being accused of fraudulent activity? Because those parents still have to go to work. So what's the plan for those kids? They're going to be put in daycare, which is then going to fill up those daycares that have been empty for the past year, 2 years. So yeah, I don't think this is a nice little coinky-dink. Do you? Don't you guys find?
No. Is every theory true? No. But here is the problem. Trust is gone. When transparency disappears, people start filling in the blanks themselves. That's not a conspiracy problem. Let me know in the comments. Do y'all think that's more of a leadership problem? Now, here's the truth they don't want said plainly. You can't impeach chaos, right? You can't protest reality. You can't shame a country into surrendering its laws. Minnesota is the warning label, not the exception. Yeah, and if you made it this far, you already know this was definitely not about one incident. It was about the control slipping and finally being challenged. So, if you made it to the end of this video, for me, not for the algorithm, I want y'all to write no more pretending. And y'all be safe. Go check on a friend today. You can quite literally be saving their life. Peace.